Rockin' 101. Paladin checking in. Yes, that was Cinderella. You were absolutely correct during the Miller Auto Plaza free ride today. Devil City Angels performing tonight, October 23rd, tonight, Bubba's Bar and Grill, and they feature Eric Brittingham of Cinderella, Ricky Rocket of Poison, Tracy Guns, and Brandon Gibbs. Let's just chat with Brandon Gibbs, shall we? Find out what it's like to be a rock star. Rockin' 101.
Hi, this is Brandon Gibbs. I'm looking for Taylor.
It's Paladin. Yeah, I know it's hard to pronounce. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the one.
No problem. I'm here. We're good.
No, I'm sorry. We just pulled into Iowa City, and that's where my parents live and my daughter, and I completely lost track of time, so forgive me, guys. I apologize.
No problem, man. Your family comes first. I'm down with that. In fact, that looks like it's the core part of who you are. I've been reading your bio. Frankly, I'm blown away. I've never seen anybody that is described in such glowing terms, almost prodigy-like.
I appreciate that, man. I tell you, I operate on this, like you just said, family comes first. It's the way I've always been raised, and, we're thankful for everything that's been delivered to us. That's when I come home, and who I want to spend my time with, We're a pretty close-knit bunch of people.
You and your identical twin brother, Brent, started out early, very early, in addition to all the other things that you've done. And you performed at church, and I was wondering if the church was like a core part of your life.
There was a musical director for this church that we attended named Marcus Whitworth, and he was the guy could play absolutely every instrument in the whole entire church. He was an influence, and he had this golden voice, and he could get soulful, he could get rock. You just knew it was him when he was singing, and watching him play the guitar, and he would write songs. Every other Sunday, he would have a brand new song, and it wasn't just like a typical praise and worship song, let's get everyone together. It was like a hit. Christian hits. It was just amazing. And so, yeah, that had a lot to do with it. And then being introduced to the blues, B.B. King and Buddy Guy and Stevie Ray, going to a lot of those shows. My parents would take me to those shows, and I ended up playing. And my parents had a band when they were younger, and I would go out and fill in on guitar once I got confident enough to do it. Mm-hmm. Church and the blues, that's pretty much where it all began, It's
awesome to hear somebody actually talk about that on the record. It's really touching to me, and personally, that's where my background is. So I'm with you on that. In fact, oddly enough, it looks like Stevie Ray Vaughan became one of your idols, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course, in Texas, he's almost been sainted. I came from Dallas. I moved up here in 2011, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was like G-O-D with a small G.
Right. I had a friend just give me a box of blues guitar players, and it was one of the first ones I pulled out. And I believe it was my first Stevie Ray video was Stevie Ray live at El Macambo.
Uh-huh.
I was absolutely just the way the guy played, the way he held his neck. You can just tell that guitar was a part of him. Mm-hmm. He squeezed the living hell out of this guitar. It was just like, wow, every note counted. Uh-huh. And he could get slow and soulful. And then all of a sudden, just when you think, wow, this guy, you've got a nice little bag of tricks, all of a sudden he'd go nuts on the guitar. And then he'd get right back into the pocket of it. Every single note was an emotion for Stevie Ray. And hands down, man, that's my all-time favorite guitar player.
Very cool.
Other than Tracy Guns.
Oh, absolutely right. I'm sitting here reading this, and I couldn't believe this reads like a rock and roll biography. It should be hardcover. It was pretty incredible here. Your first gig was a festival at age 13, and you ended the show by playing blindfolded?
We did. We had a festival, and it was one of those things where, you're trusted to go out in front of about 10,000 people. Mm-hmm. My twin brother and I at the time were going to do something different. Let's learn how to play completely blindfolded. And so we had these girls come out. The very last song, we were blindfolded, and we finished it blindfolded. And it was us kind of daydreaming, I wonder what we could do. And truth be known, once you get the feel of your instrument, you know where you're at. You kind of know where you're going. And it was challenging for us, don't get me wrong, but then we'd have to put the guitar behind her head, or Brent would throw his sticks up and do whatever he could to get attention. Uh-huh. It was fun. That's actually where I met later on, about 16 years old, 17 years old. That's where I began my relationship with the guys from Poison.
Yes.
We played that exact same festival again. Mm-hmm. Opened up for Poison, and Ricky and my brother and I, we became friends, and Ricky and I pretty much the last 10 years just started chatting and led us to this new adventure. And there's so many cool things that are coming Devil City's way right now. Mm-hmm. Some things that we can't even talk about, but you're going to see it shortly. Coming, but
yeah, we're
it's
looking
a great
forward
camp
to it.
It really, truly is. I know we hear, we love each other. We truly do have each other's back, and we love each other, and we have a great show. I'm a little biased It's fun, and it's rock. It's rock in its truest form. 4 guys, loud guitars, bass, drum. I mean, it's fun.
Obviously, the headlining celebrities, Eric Brittingham of Cinderella, Ricky Rocket of Poison, Tracy Guns. You spell those out, and that's clearly supergroup. Devil City Angels, tonight, Bubba's. This is part 1 of the interview. Stay tuned, stick around for part 2. I think you'll find it just as entertaining, if not more, as I continue the interview with Brandon Gibbs of Devil City Angels on the Rock Station. Rockin' 101, Paladin back with Brandon Gibbs of Devil City Angels, continuing the interview. This is part 2.
There's so many cool things that are coming Devil City's way right now. Some things that we can't even talk about, but you're going to see it shortly. It's coming. But
obviously, the headlining celebrities, Eric Brittingham of Cinderella, Ricky Rocket of Poison, Tracy Guns. You spell those out, and that's clearly supergroup. Then Brandon Gibbs, I'm like, wow, Google Brandon Gibbs. What? Finding out that you were selected after this festival to open for Peter Frampton a month after that at the age of 14, and you were a guitar prodigy before they even tapped into your voice. This is amazing to me.
You get those calls in life where you just remember them. You know, there's, for instance, when I got called to be a Devil City Angel, I remember it. And when I was 14, I was jumping on the trampoline with my next-door neighbor, and her and I were sitting there jumping, and my mom came out and was like, yeah, can I talk to you for a second? Can you stop jumping on the trampoline and listen to me for a minute? Yeah, sure. And she goes, there's a promoter on the phone, and, I'm like, a promoter? What's that? She's like, here's the deal. They want you to open up for a guy named Peter Frampton. And I go, oh, I'll do it. But who's Peter Frampton? And she's like, okay, in order for this to work, you really need to figure out who this guy, you know what I mean? I was a young man. I didn't know. I had no idea. And started tapping into all these bands that we would open for and getting their records and just kind of honing my guitar playing. And, I mean, those are the greats, the Doobie Brothers and Thorogood and Jeff Healey. And we got to work with all those guys. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I feel like I have those influences. I'm keeping my ear to the ground on what's current because Devil City wants to remain current but still stay true to our roots, and that is part of our sound. You might hear some Zeppelin in our mix, but you're also going to hear some heartfelt lyrics in there too. It's not just jamming. These are some fun songs to write.
I can tell you're having a good time. Jeff Healey, what a guy. I'm so sad about his passing. I actually got to meet him, of all things, at a Stevie Ray Vaughan memorial charity concert thing that was like a ride for Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Jeff Healey was the headline act that night, and got to see him and talk to him. And
Jeff, I mean, I love the way he bent his B notes on his guitar. It was like, man, they just went not 2 frets, 3 frets, man, they went a mile. And maybe it was the way he played his guitar. He had that extra pull on it, and it created kind of the Jeff Healey sound. But also, too, like I bought his record cover to cover, I think it was, and he covered a bunch of great songs. And, man, I just learned, like, geez, this guy can sing, too. He sings from his gut. I mean, he was a great guitar player, but, man, he didn't hit a bad note. It's just soulful and gritty, and I miss that guy. I got to work with him when I was about 17 years old. We did the Sarasota Blues Fest with him, and then we did an after party with him. And I remember walking out doing the Blues Fest. It was great, open up for this great guitar god, and then they go, well, I know you're not 21, but we'd like you to do this after party with Jeff Healey. We're going to sneak in. And so we snuck in and played this really, really small club called the Classic Wax. And I was like, man, I just hope I see Jeff Healey tonight. I hope I see him, And he came in, and his guitar tech comes up and goes, hey, Jeff would like to do a song. Can you play your guitar? And so I go, yeah. He goes, no, you go ahead and give it to him. So they sit, Jeff, all right, man, this is your space. And he's like, hey, brother, man, good show. Hey, man, you mind taking that whammy bar off for me? So I just take the whammy bar off, and he goes, cool, man. Hey, man, you mind taking that guitar strap off? So I unbuckle my guitar strap. I'm like teching for him at this point in my head,
Yeah.
He's asking me simple things, and I'm just like, I'm his guitar tech right now. And he just, like a piano, just kind of fluttered down the neck real quick on my guitar, and I was like, oh my God, that's how you play a Stratocaster. And then he's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, da 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 da, and he starts going crazy. And it was funny too, because he got up, the big stage that we did, he walked around. It was kind of part of his act. Around on the small stage, exactly where everything was.
I'd never seen him do that before. I'd only seen him perform on his lap, and then he gets up, owns the stage, knew where everything was, instinctively knew where the crowd was, and oh my God.
Yeah, we're seriously blessed to have his records. And I mean, one of the most probably underrated guitar players. I mean, he was it. He conquered so many things, and being blind, and just the way he chose to play his guitar is just like unbelievable. I would just wonder what kind of music he'd be making right now. Maybe he'd be done touring. Maybe he would still be doing it. I don't know. It's just, he was the best. In my opinion, Jeff Healey has got to be the best guitar player that ever walked the face of the earth.
Very fine statement, and I back you on that. I guess we should start talking a little bit about Devil City Angels, since you guys are playing tonight at Bubba's Bar and Grill. The big question, well, you mentioned that you got together with Ricky Rocket of Poison. Apparently you toured together for 4 albums as Cheap Thrill. Is that right?
Ricky and I, we wrote some songs about 10 years ago. When I got done with my Cheap Thrill tour in Europe, they called me and asked if I would like to be a part of this and write a record. And so we have a great start on a brand new Devil City Angels record. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things, too, like you just feel kind of like Mark Wahlberg in that movie Rockstar, where you, once again, you get that phone call and, hey, man, I want you to think about this. And you're like, God, you got to be kidding me. You know, like, this is going to be a great band. If Tracy's in it, really? I mean, and of course, Eric, I've worked with Eric for almost 10 years now. It's like, this is awesome. I can't wait to be a part of it.
Uh-huh.
Man, it's just, I can't say it enough. You have to come see it. You have to feel the energy and the passion. You get to hear some of your hits, but you also get to hear the new stuff that we're coming up with, and we're very passionate about it. It's not necessarily, we don't feel like a super group. We feel like a band that's just like, man, you've got to check out all these ideas that have been bottled up over the years. Uh-huh. We're throwing them right on our record, and people love them. You know, there's a lot of attention going to, especially All My People. That seems to be the one that people are really digging the most.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys play that tonight. I have no idea what else to talk about other than your gig tonight, and your album is...
It's kind of backwards. We said our record is going to be about the first of the year. January, February is the target date.
Okay.
We started touring beginning of September, and we released a song even earlier. So we're just kind of leaking some things out and putting a cap on this record that we're so excited about. So The record's not quite out yet, but you can go to Reverb Nation, the Devil City Angels, or our website, thedevilcityangels.com, and stream some of these songs for free and listen to them. And it's going to be a fantastic record. We're all very confident that this is going to be a smash and people are going to relate to it. Tracy Guns, I mean, come on, man. The guy can wail. I think everyone's going to get something out of it.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys come together. I understand you guys have some chemistry. It's going to be incredible. Looks like the other guys in your band have already spoken to other guys here at the station, so it's a nice deal to be able to promote. And you guys taking time out of your schedule. I know you're exhausted from this constant touring, so taking time to call in the station or come by and do interviews and press, your efforts are appreciated.
Well, hey, listen, I feel blessed to be able to call in and promote anything I'm doing. There's a lot of great players out there, and a lot of them don't get this kind of platform where they can share their music and have people who are interested in it. So this is actually my pleasure. So let me thank you, and thank you. I'll just thank you right now. Thank you.
Very kind, very kind.
I'll just tell you this. Come out to the show. Enjoy your time and stay in Devil City, because it's going to be a blast.
All right, Devil City Angels tonight, Bubba's Bar and Grill. I think they still have some tickets available at the door for $23. Feel free to call in anytime, brother. Anytime you want to talk about any project, solo, group, whichever, I'm all about it.
Thank you for having me, dude. I appreciate it, and I guess I'll see you guys shortly.
Very good. Thanks so much.
All right, see you, buddy.
And I'll get right back into the music here on the Miller Auto Plaza Free Ride. Here's one by request on the Rock Station.